7 years ago, I'm sitting in an elementary school office talking to the secretary, ready to register my son for kindergarten. I've got my birth certificate and his, and my attestation document, which states that I myself have attended English school in Quebec. I slide the documents over to her, and she starts writing things down. She looks at the papers, and she does a double take. And she says, your date of birth doesn't match on these two documents. I know. I've been dealing with this confusion since I was 5. It's my 5th birthday, or so I'm told. It's my 2nd week of kindergarten. And Miss Chardon places a paper crown on my head. She puts me at the front of the line and says, I'm going to lead the class parade. On top of that, I get to choose an instrument from her musical bin. Having no musical talent or capability whatsoever, I choose the cymbals. So I'm parading around the room and I'm banging on my cymbals and I'm having the best time of my life. There's no way I'm going to spill the beans that Miss Chardon got it wrong because I know today is not my birthday. But then I stopped to think about it, and what if she mixed me up with one of my classmates? When they figure it out, they're going to be sad. So I stop the parade. I pull off my crown and I hold it in my little fists. And I say, Miss Chardon, today is not my birthday. Yes, it is, she says, convinced. But my mom didn't tell me. But she thinks maybe mom wants to surprise me. And when I get home, I'm convinced she's right, because there's balloons. There is a dark chocolate Duncan Hines cake with frosting on the table. My family is super enthusiastic, but something doesn't feel right. I mean, there's been no build-up, no anticipation, no counting sleeps until my birthday. It's just here. So in case my parents and my 3 older siblings all got it wrong, I ask again, are you sure today is my birthday? And they all just kind of look at each other, and then they give me a present. So of course I rip it open, and it's a puzzle, which is totally disappointing because I've been talking about Barbies like forever. I even circled all of the ones that I like in the Canadian Tire catalog. How did they get this wrong? I am 5, I am small, and I am confused. But they must sense my disappointment because they stick the candles on the cake. They sing happy birthday. My eldest sister starts to cut up the cake, and then I have a flashback to last year. Because see, my sister is 10 years older than me, but our birthdays are 2 days apart. And I'm pretty sure I remember celebrating together last year. Yeah, she had vanilla cake. I had chocolate. I had 2 pieces of cake on my plate, and right now there is only one. Something is definitely wrong. So here's the deal. My real birthday is actually September 16th. And if you don't know this, if it's any child that's born after September 30th actually has to wait a full year before they can register for kindergarten. So my then stay-at-home mom of 4 children decided that I was ready. Yes, I was so ready for that cymbal-thumping parade, you had no idea. That, and she had to go back to work full-time. Yep. I'm the kind of kid that made my mom look forward going back to work. So she bypassed the rules. She asked the priest at our church to sign a fake birth certificate. Indicating that my birthday is September 16th, which is 2 weeks before the cutoff. So I'm guessing a lot of parents actually probably did this. However, my family is probably the only one that planned a fake surprise birthday party for me. I mean, it got really confusing about a month later when we had another birthday party, this time with my older sister, and more cake, which was good. And I finally got the Barbie dolls that I wanted, but I remember thinking, don't they remember that we already did this? So I started school a year early with a fake birth date. So what? Well, fast forward to 6th grade when most of the girls are starting to get their periods. Not me. No. Lucky me, I was a late bloomer. That and the fact that I was almost a full year younger than most of the girls in my class. So while they were talking about maxi pads and menstrual cramps, I'm trying to show them my newest addition to my scratch and sniff sticker collection, which of course nobody cared about. Then one day my best friend Marco asks me, "How come you're 11 years old and you don't have boobs?" To which I answered, "How come you're 10 and don't have brains?" I may have felt lost, flat, and skinny most of the time, but at least my sharp tongue was fully developed, which came in really handy by the time I was in 9th grade and the boys realized I had finally caught up to the other girls in my class. But I always felt like I was a step behind everybody else, especially when I was with my best girlfriends. They were all super smart, they got the best grades, and I always felt like I was running just to catch up. When they were all talking about the Rachel Green layered look, my style was more Alanis Morissette. So I was like a person out of sync, out of time, and definitely out of place. And nobody made me feel that more than the person at the admissions at the college that I attended. Because I had to answer, or rather she had to ask me 3 times, "What's your birth date?" I hesitated. I didn't know which one to give her. In the end, I gave her my September birthday thinking, well, at least it'll match all of my papers from high school, my transcripts and all that. But then all my transcripts from CEGEP had my fake birthday. And my documents for university. And the papers I needed to fill out to apply to become a teacher. So I'm a fraud. And at every turn, I was worried that my applications would get rejected or withheld, or I'd be called in for questioning, or that my son would be refused access to English school because his mother was living a lie. Of course, none of that happened. But as I told the secretary at the elementary school my story, she listened and tilted her head and said, "So your parents, they just lied to you about your birthday?" "Yeah," I said, "but to be fair, I definitely lied to them about a whole lot more." I'll call it even. Thank you.